We are we are live. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. This is great, Dennis. Our friend Dennis Yu is here with us. We're going to be talking about our topic today is growth hack your way into 2023 for digital marketing agencies. And many of you are here because we got Dennis Yu with us. Dennis is sort of a celebrity in our circles, and people love talking to Dennis. And Dennis
Kind.
and I have been spending some time over the last year or so. I got to know my brothers first actually interacted with him. They're like, you gotta talk to Dennis, right? And then luckily a month later, because the one thing about Dennis you may not know is that if you're thinking of meeting him, he's probably going to be in a city near you real time, sometimes real soon. So it so happened that he was in Calgary at a speaking event, and Dennis and I got to spend a couple of days together, or riding some scooters in Calgary, chasing some
Sounds
big
fun.
bunnies, and having some food and stuff like that, and talking about things. And Dennis was, he was talking about this strategy that Dennis has, and it was like complete. I didn't understand what he was talking about at that time, and the strategy was, you got to do the lighthouse wheel, and I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And then Dennis talking about, uh, you got to do this dollar a day campaigns and things like that. I'm like, okay, so I've seen Dennis talk about dollar a day campaigns, and but what's this lighthouse strategy, and what's the content wheel? These things were completely new to me, and lucky us that we decided to start work with Dennis. So for the past 6 months, we at RepStack have been working with Dennis to kind of implement everything that he's been talking about, and really, like, I think the things that we're going to be talking about in our growth hack strategy session today are going to be things that we've really learned by implementing these strategies firsthand inside our own agency. And we are selling to some of the most difficult clients. I love our clients, but these are marketing agencies that we're selling to. So these are people who are selling to the rest of the world that we are selling to. And we've been extremely successful implementing Dennis's strategies over the last 6 months. So I figured I'd talk to Dennis, and I'm like, Dennis, like, can we really put this out there for everyone to kind of understand, and then hopefully implement this? Because it's just amazing. Like, it'll just blow your mind, and we'll walk you through some of our numbers that we've gotten over the last 6 months implementing these strategies, and some of the things that we want to cover are content market. So these would be strategies that you all can take and walk away with and start implementing inside your agencies, and so that you can have a stellar 2023. So some of the things that we're going to talk about today: content marketing using the Lighthouse strategy. So this is something this got Dennis written all over it. The TikTok dollar a day, Dennis does talk about dollar a day all over, like on all sorts of social media platforms, but we're going to try to hone in a little bit on TikTok this time, because we got some amazing results on the TikTok side as well. And Dennis also has a best-selling book on the same topic as well. So why not talk to our Mr. Writer Extra, amazing writer that we have with us. Using short content as a staircase to social media success. So we've been talking about short content all over the place, but I think this is really going to put things in perspective for you guys. And then personal branding, to be the go-to figure in your niche. So I think everything is kind of interrelated to each other, interconnected to each other. But without any further ado, Dennis, if you want to kind of just start out with maybe tell us a little bit about what is a lighthouse strategy. What's this all about?
Yeah, the Lighthouse Strategy is agencies need to understand this because it distinguishes between perceived authority versus actual authority. And if you're an agency and you're trying to get more clients, you probably don't know the difference between those two. So what is the difference, Azar? And let me share my screen so I can make it a little more apparent what this is. And by the way, everything that I do, I like to teach. I like to demonstrate through direct example. I don't want to just tell people. And you should do the same thing too. So can you see my screen?
So what's the question again, Dennis? Perceived authority versus?
What's the difference between perceived authority versus actual authority?
That's a good question, man. If I had to answer that, perceived authority is, like what the perception of, what's my perception to my target audience, right? Like, if they see me or an ad from me, what's their perception of it? And my actual authority may not be at a point where, it's being perceived at. It could be, it could be a lot less. I don't know if that's the right answer there, Dennis, but I know we've been using your strategies and it's been extremely successful, but I'll let you answer that too.
Okay. So last night I flew from Atlanta to Las Vegas. And let's say that you were with me, Azar, and we were in the airport. And as we're walking through the airport, we see a pilot and he's dressed in a uniform, just like a pilot would, with a pilot hat and the pilot bag and all this. You would probably assume this person knows how to fly an airplane, right?
Yep.
He has perceived authority. But can he actually fly an airplane? You don't really know. So I wrote an article here on how to use a Lighthouse strategy, which is based on your relationships, so that people believe that you're good at what you do. Now, if you're actually good at driving leads, you're actually good at driving phone calls, you're actually good at driving sales, good at doing SEO, good at building websites, good at doing all the stuff that you're doing, that's actual authority. A lot of us, we have actual authority, but we don't have perceived authority. So perceived authority must precede actual authority. And it's not to say that you should just fake it till you make it, or you should pretend that you're good. You have to actually be able to deliver too, which is the actual authority. But if you want to get clients, it's actually perceived authority that drives the clients. Now, the Lighthouse strategy is also dependent upon you choosing a niche, because if you don't have a niche, you can't choose a lighthouse in that niche, right? If you say, like, I serve small businesses, well, there's no lighthouse for small businesses because it's too broad. But here, you see my cover photo here on Facebook. Yeah, I changed this just yesterday, and here I'm with Daryl
Isaacs.
Yeah, it's Daryl. Daryl was with me when we did the last webinar. I stayed at one of his houses.
Yeah.
And there's his son, Lee Isaacs. And here we are. I don't remember where we are. I think we might be at a restaurant. Oh, yeah, we're at the Hard Rock Cafe. But here, I'll literally show you this. The idea of this lighthouse is something that you have to live and breathe. It's something almost no agencies do. You and I do this. And this is the thing I want everyone to understand. And I'm literally showing it through things that have happened in the last 24 hours. I do this every single day. This is not luck. This doesn't require having an amazing network. You don't have to travel like me. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a ton of VAs. This will work for everybody. So here, our buddy Rihan, who's big in Pakistan, says, hey, this is a conference and people like Dennis, you are here. And he's saying all these great things. Now he's doing the edification of me. That builds my perceived authority, right? Let's go a little further. Oh, this is a vulnerability post. But that's not to build the agency. This is just to build empathy. Here's another one. Now, this one's a little bit more nuanced. So technically, this post would be, hey, you know what? I'm getting close to hitting 1 million followers here on Facebook, right? That looks cool, right? So that's doing things. One, it's a hum brag because it's saying, wow, this is kind of cool. But then it's like, oh, I have a lot of followers. I have a blue check mark. But here's what I'm really doing. And I almost never, only people like Michael Stelzner and Ryan Dice know this because they know me well enough to see that when I make posts, there's actually always an underlying meaning. And most people don't know that. It's actually planned. What I'm actually doing is I'm showing who I'm with. I'm showing the network that I work with, because the Lighthouse strategy is, if I'm with Daryl Isaacs, who's done $2 billion as a personal injury attorney, then all the other $1 billion personal injury attorneys want to work with me. And they do, because I was at a conference yesterday and I met a bunch of them, right? So the way I do that is I constantly honor and show gratitude to my Lighthouse. So my favorite way to do that is to upload them as my cover photo. and I'll say a few good things about them. And all these other people start saying some good things. Here's another one. Here's 2 days ago. So I am honoring a client, and this is Sam Tejada, who runs Liquivita, and he's growing his IV therapy clinics at 30 per year. So he's expanding. He is a lighthouse in med spa and functional wellness centers because he's super well known, and we're helping put his book together. And so we're literally just having him speak his book, and then our VAs are going to turn it into a book and promote it, make it a bestseller, that whole kind of thing. But here, instead of saying, we're really good at publishing books, or we can get you well known, or whatever it is, we're explaining a key point, which is if you're a figurehead, you can write your book in just 6 hours by speaking it, and then the VAs and whatnot can do the rest of the work. Right?
Is that how you wrote your TikTok book?
That's how I wrote the TikTok book. I interviewed all the top people in TikTok, and I asked them,
nice.
All these young adults, all these girls who, do dancing, all the entrepreneurs that are sharing business advice to be able to drive leads. And I got to shadow them. And I'm really lucky because I have enough perceived authority that when I ask these people, hey, I'd love to feature you in my book, they're going to say yes to that. So I used my perceived authority to be able to get access to these other people, where some of these people are very hard to get a hold of, and they're willing to spend time with me, and they're willing to do it for free. Isn't that crazy?
That is. And the fact that you got the book to a #1 bestseller on Amazon, how does that happen? And it doesn't take, Dennis is just doing the stuff that he likes and loves, interviewing people, talking to, and there is some strategy behind it, obviously. There's always these, finding out the lighthouses and people who are influential. But at the end of the day, I think we just overcomplicate things. And I just posted the title of Dennis's book, The Definitive Guide to TikTok Advertising. If you guys want, you should pick it up. But we have Dennis with us, so we're going to be asking him what are we looking at, Dennis?
Let me just roll through a few more examples so you see how I'm intentionally leveraging perceived authority. So here's a guy who's super well known in the hormone replacement therapy space. Andre runs Bright, and he's the one who featured me, right? He said it was great to meet Dennis. I've known Dennis for a long time. We have 400 mutual friends, right? Here's another one. I'm sharing a memory from a year ago. A year ago, I was in Hungary with Dr. Lyons, who's the founder of Cocoon. So I do all these Cocoon baths. In fact, after this webinar, I'm going to go do another 3 Cocoon baths today, these oxygen therapy baths here. That's why I'll come to Vegas and do these, and then go off and do like adventure stuff like in this RV. But here I'm talking about the power of relationships and how I'm traveling to Budapest to, see him open new facilities. And I'm constantly sharing. Now, look, I shared this memory. You know how Facebook suggests memories? So I said, cool, that's pretty cool. And there's 4 or 5 things that are occurring here. Most people, they scroll through social media so fast, they don't understand what I'm intentionally doing. One, when I share a memory, like this one from a year ago, I'm showing the persistence of relationships, that I'm a long-term relationship player. That's what I'm saying. So I love featuring friends of mine that we've been friends for a long time. Because with digital, a lot of people are like, oh, this thing just happened, and chatbots and this and that. And if I'm a potential client and I'm looking at you and I don't see that you have relationships that you've kept for a long time, that tells me there's something wrong with you, that you can't deliver, or you don't know how to treat people well. Like, you could be really good at digital marketing, but you're not a relationship oriented kind of person. So I love showing friends of mine that I've been friends with for a very long time. Number 2 is I'm showing, I've never broken this down before. I think people who are good at growing agencies instinctively understand this, or good at growing companies. Number 2 is that I'm showing empathy, because I'm spending 6 figures a year of my money to ship Cocoon water, or it could be like whatever it is you do for other people, because I said nothing's more important than your health and well-being, right? Because the healthy person wants lots of things, and the sick man just wants one thing, right? And so I'm showing empathy. I'm showing how much I care. But did I say anything here about how good I am at generating leads for real estate companies, or for like whatever niche you serve? Did I say anything about how good I am about doing that? None. What I did was
Nope.
I show long-term relationships. I really care for people. And I show that, right? And then I also show through the people I'm doing it with, that's a lighthouse. Now I have many, many lighthouses, but an agency needs just one, right? You don't have to hit a home run every day. I hit a home run multiple times per day because we're helping a lot of agencies grow like you guys. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we not only have to walk the talk, we have to like walk the talk every minute. We have to live and breathe it. But
Yeah.
any other agency needs only one hit. They only need to hit that thing one time. That's it.
Hmm.
It's like you said, you think marketing for digital agencies is hard? I get complaints all day long. How hard is it to market to marketing agencies, which is what RepStack's doing, right? Even harder. We need an even stronger lighthouse strategy. Okay. Here's another one,
Yeah.
right? I said
And
you can
to
get your
that
blue
point,
on Twitter. Go ahead.
to that point, Dennis, since we've been implementing some of your strategies, like we've consistently for the last 3 months, we're booking over 100 discovery calls to a point where we have a waiting list right now, and that's the situation you want to be in. And
Mhm.
we're in a lucky situation. Like going back to the lighthouse strategy. If I understand this correctly, in entire Dennis's strategy book, the lighthouse is few people. It could be just one, like Dennis said. In our case, I think we have like 8, 10, 15 different, and we're going to show our content wheel in a little bit as well to you
Yep.
guys. So first of all, you identify who these people are, who you have ongoing relationships with, and then you, like what Dennis is showing us, you proactively build out these relationships, and you show build perceived value, like Dennis is showing us, right? Every single post is going to be linked to a particular lighthouse that you have inside your organization. And then so you got the lighthouse, then you got below the lighthouse, you have this thing that Dennis talks about. And this is, you guys are going to love this when we get to this, is the content wheel. People talk about content
Yep.
calendars and agencies and things like that. And Dennis showed us this amazing thing called the content wheel. Here it is. And I hope you don't mind us showing your
Yeah.
content
Go
wheel,
for it.
uh, Dennis. And we got our own right next to it, right? We got
Yeah.
Dennis in it, we got Josh Nelson in it, we got Alex Schlinsky in it, and a few other people who people know around the digital marketing world. So it's very easy for you guys to kind of identify these people. Some of these people may already be in your working with you guys, right? So it's, these guys are your lighthouse right now, and they will be evolving at times as well. You'll be going out and finding other lighthouses, and increasing the number of lighthouses that you have. But from those lighthouses, what you want to do is that, what uh, Dennis makes it look easy, but there's a method to his madness, which
Yep.
is the topic wheel that we're looking at right now. Do you mind explaining this to us, Dennis, what we're looking at?
The topic wheel is a way of building your perceived authority, like we talked about, not your actual authority, which is operations and onboarding and all that kind, like reports and account management. This is about the perceived authority. So if you think about, it could be RepStack or whoever, what do you want to be known for? Well, you want to be known for virtual assistants. You want to be known for helping agencies be able to scale their businesses, which ties to work-life balance. You want to be known for,
Mm-hmm.
creating jobs, and that means empowering people. And RepStack 60+% are women because of the women can be account managers in the middle of the night, take care of their kids. During the day, it works really well. You want to be known for digital marketing, for account management, for helping executives get their time back because you can hire an executive assistant. Like there's all these things that you want to be known for. And so all the other agencies, they play chess one move ahead, and that's how you lose. You play only one move ahead. And that is to say, well, I'm RepStack and we're really good at hiring virtual assistants. Oh yeah, well, I get hit up like 20 times a day by people who do that. How do you
Yeah.
differentiate? And perceived authority, the way you have perceived authority is you don't just say that you're good at VAs or you have people who are good at doing this one thing. You have to tie it with people like Josh Nelson. So Josh Nelson has a number of VAs from RepStack, and he loves talking about that. And so all the people who are fans of Josh Nelson, other agencies, for example, will see like, wow, Josh Nelson and the RepStack folks are hanging out all the time. They're on webinars together. Josh is always talking
Mm.
about how RepStack is doing fantastic things. So the perceived authority in this case, and it should in most cases, stems from actual authority. All right, I'm going to share my screen.
And yeah, one thing I want to touch on that is also that, not necessarily, these guys don't necessarily, your lighthouses don't necessarily need to be your clients either. They could be, they could be people that you built out those, like, for example, we've been on multiple podcasts with the high level people. I've had Sean Clark on my podcast. Me and my brother have gone to their podcast. We recently had um, uh, another one of their co-founders on our podcast. So like we've done like 3 or 4 different podcasts with these guys, and that's where that perceived authority comes in. We're hanging out with high level people all the time, and we've got this content that's recorded on camera, and now we can use the content wheel to put it out there, right?
Yep. So when you build a topic wheel, you're building in 2 directions, inside out and outside in. So inside out is where you always start is, you want to drive leads. What do you want to be known for? Those are the topics. And then who is authoritative? So your perceived authority is only as good as the sum of the perceived authority of the other people that you're with. So like Azar said, it's people that that may or may not be clients. So if we do a search on RepStack and podcast, we see all the people that are here. Here's a few other angles. So look at this RepStack Josh Nelson. So the number one result, how Josh Nelson built an Inc. 5000 digital marketing agency. So this is on RepStack, but it's not how amazing is RepStack and how all these people are having great VAs from RepStack, which they are. But here's the secret, and this is what you guys don't do as agencies: honor other people. So Azar is honoring Josh Nelson. Why would you want to spend? And if you look at my posts, I'm constantly honoring other people, right? Why would you want to spend your time honoring Dr. Lyons, right? I literally said this, in honor, to be with who I believe is the most important living scientist on the planet, right? So if you look at my posts, I'm honoring, constantly honoring other people. Other people are tagging me, I'm honoring them. See, I'm honoring Shep Hyken, right? And I'm talking about how amazing he is. So why is it key, Azar, in a Lighthouse strategy to be co-creating content with other people and honoring them? And when you're having them on a podcast, what's the first thing that a great podcast host does? They honor their guest, right? Today, we have Sean Clark, who's the founder of High Level, and here's all these great things about High Level. So why are we build perceived authority? Here's a question for you, Azar. Why is it so important to focus on honoring these people?
Well, because again, like what you're saying, that if I know you really, really well, then I'm gonna share that honor, and I'm gonna let the world know that, hey, Dennis is this person that I love spending time with because this, and this, right? So it's not all about me in this particular case, right? I'm gonna be sharing Dennis's perceived authority. That's why when I introduced you on this call, I shared some of those times. It was great hanging out with you in Calgary. We were riding scooters, we're going to lunches and dinners and things like that, right? So I think it just helps build without just being salesy. Hey, I know this guy. I'm working with this guy all the time and things like that, right? That's very different than we have a genuine relationship for over 1 year. I hope that that answers the question.
Yeah. So we're doing all these things in Calgary, which is amazing. Here's the thing. When you honor other people and you make them feel good, then they want to share that. When you honor them in a podcast in the beginning, like if you're a great podcast host, in the first minute, you just keep warming them up and you make them feel so good that it ends up being a great podcast, right? And when you say good things about them, what do? They say great things about you. And so you're looking for those snippets. You never want to be a douchebag talking about how good you are, right? Because you want them to do the talking for you.
So yeah, the other thing that could also come out of this, Dennis, is that, just taking that snippet, like, when I'm talking about Dennis, for example, Dennis may not need my snippet, but if somebody else, like, for example, Josh Nelson, he's running an ad where, I gave out a testimonial about the success that we've had going into Josh's program. And, I was being genuine and honest about it. And Josh is actually running an ad using my testimonial, bringing in other digital marketing agencies, right? So that kind of tells me that, I'm turning into a mini Lighthouse myself.
That's now you're playing chess four steps ahead of these other people. Why? Because instead of talking about yourself, you're honoring other people. You honor them so much, they talk about you. You grab the snippet of them talking about you, and then you repurpose that, and then you boost it. And so you're using that many ways. Here's an example. I posted this morning. Do you know the king of cold email? It's Alex Berman, right? And Alex and I have been friends for a long time. And here's what I did. This is like 5 steps deep in Inception, but it is based on the Lighthouse Strategy, because Alex runs a successful, I don't think he's quite $10 million a year, but he's got his agency, and he's got multiple SaaS companies because he's building SaaS software. He has a CEO. I think he hired a CEO for his agency 6 years ago. So he's like Josh Nelson, he's not involved in the day-to-day of his agency. Okay. Nice. So I'm honoring him. This is on my blog. This blog is a DR60, so it carries a lot of SEO power. Okay. And here are a bunch of articles about Alex Berman. Now, this one is, how do you go from nothing to $600,000 in 60 days? And he explains how to do that step by step, right? And we've got a lot of examples of this. And there's other, articles that we have, right, that are by him as an author. So let's see, 6 agency mistakes, let's just say, right? The results of client failure with Alex Berman, right? And this is Alex and I in London. And it's all the stuff that he said. And it has some pictures of he and I. Now, do you think that I wrote this article? Where did this article come from? Let me show you something.
That's a good.
Let me show you something that people don't. I think this might blow your mind, or maybe it may cause you to think that I'm a manipulator once you realize this strategy. Okay, so Alex is absolutely killer on Twitter, and he's got a best-selling book. He's got a successful agency. There's all kinds of great things about Alex. But do you think he's going to take the time to write all these articles for me? Heck no. So what I do is that Alex and I are hanging out, and there's all these different moments. Like here we are in India, right? And doing all kinds of different things. And then we went to the ashram where Steve Jobs took Mark Zuckerberg to this ashram, and that's where they both got the idea. That's how they grew there's a whole incredible story about this. We had to go to the nice. We're making videos along the way as we're doing this, and he's giving all kinds of great advice. We're meeting cool people. There's the Taj Mahal, and we're making videos about this. We're talking about stuff, and we're just having a good time, right? But here's the other thing, and there's this guy's super well known, Wenkur Ariku, right? So here we have a podcast with him, filmed on my iPhone, as you can see. This is everything off my iPhone, right? Just automatically raw stuff off my iPhone. So our VAs come in, and here I just did a search for Alex Berman, and they're taking all these and they're turning into articles. 6 things about lead gen, and they're just pulling from here. And then I might go to Twitter, and because he's killer on Twitter, and let's see what he's been doing on Twitter. Watch this. You guys can do this. You do not have to be famous to be able to do this, okay? So here's Alex on Twitter, and look at the engagement that he gets. He's just a killer copywriter because he's so good at cold email and headlines, and he's got an AI tool that generates headlines and does outreach and writes LinkedIn posts for you. Just his new SaaS that he started is called Omni. So he's obviously promoting his SaaS. But it's not about his SaaS. It's the fact that this guy is constantly dropping knowledge on Twitter and on LinkedIn. But what he's not doing is cross-posting or sharing this to Facebook or to YouTube. I think he's got like 50,000 subs on YouTube. But he's only putting it in these one channels, right? He's creating amazing content on Twitter, but no one else is seeing it except on Twitter because he's not using multiple channels. So I look at this and say, wow, this is a huge arbitrage opportunity. Here, look, here's one. This was just yesterday, okay? I've generated over $100 million via cold email. Here are 7 best cold email practices I wish I followed earlier. And look, you can see people are commenting and sharing. So now there's a whole thread. You see, here's this whole thread, tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. You see this? And I look at this and I say, dang, these are incredible cold email tips. And I'll say, dang, that is awesome. Alex, permission to share and credit you. What's he going to say to that? He's going to say, yeah, of course. So then what I do is that then I'll take this thing here and I'll compose a new email and I'll put this I'll put this to repurpose at Blitzmetrics and turn into an article on Alex Berman when he replies yes on Twitter.
There we go.
Now I just wrote a blog post. Isn't that great? Yeah. Did I cheat or what? Nice. Now this is okay. This is a post that I know is going to do well. Why do I know this is going to do well when it turns into a blog post?
Well, it is because people are searching for Alex, right? People know him. He's a lighthouse, and he's only like if he's just focused on Twitter, that's it's going to bring his lighthouse perceived authority over to your blog, and just everything that we've been talking about, right? Like it brings focus to Blitz metrics. Not even, and you're basically giving him credit for everything. But
so I'm just making him
the permission.
Good. Yeah. So do this with whoever your lighthouse is. So in this case, I really like Alex. He's a lighthouse for me. I have like 20 lighthouses, but you only need one. And so look, he's got 90,000 subscribers and he's got some ridiculous number of views, only 12 million, fine. But he's killing it, right? He's got multiple 7- and 8-figure agencies that he owns. And he's like interviewed me on, how do you do SEO? Like he doesn't do SEO, which is crazy. So I can literally repurpose his, like, here's one, how do agency owners, they need to double their prices. And we talk about why that is, right? But I'm honoring somebody. He's already well-known. I'm leveraging his audience. And then here, when we turn what he has to say into blog posts, and here I said, he's the cold email king, right? And I made a tweet about that. Then I apply $1 a day against it. Well, I got lots of accounts. Let's see. Then here's how $1 a day works. And it works on every single channel, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat. That it works TikTok. On every single TikTok. It's $5 a day on TikTok, but it's the same principle. Okay. I choose engagement, which is the same as boosting a post. I'll say Alex Berman. It doesn't really matter. Alex Berman King. Okay. And I'm spending, how much am I spending?
$1 a day.
$1
so 30 bucks a month.
Spending $7. And here's the key. With the lighthouse, I'm leveraging their audience, right? So I'm taking Alex Berman. Now he's got 250,000 people here on Twitter. You see that? But it doesn't have to be just his audience, which will do really well. I can go after RepStack. I can go after anyone that I want, right? Let's say I want to go after people who go to a particular conference, or maybe I'm not going to do this one here, but Azar, just name anybody that you would, if you could reach their audience, if they gave you their email list, you would love to mail to their list. You'd love to retarget their audience. Who would that be?
Sean Clark at High Level.
Sean Clark. Okay. So let's say it's, Clark, is it this one? But I can target anyone, right? I can target Chase Buckner. I can target, for fun, I'll put them in. So now I can choose, like, Twitter's the only one that allows me to target anyone. I can target any handle, any person, any brand, any conference, any Twitter, right? And I've got all those together. And now I'm saying, let's go for that tweet that I just made. Alex Berman's the king of cold email. So I chose that tweet. Now I've boosted that tweet against that audience for $1 a day, right? I've just chosen that. And now I'm done. it's done. Now I just launched a campaign. I was able to create content with someone else at no effort of mine. It made me look good because I honored them. I shared their content, which was already working in one channel, into another channel. Because Azar, how often is it that people they share on YouTube, but they're also good on Facebook, or they're good on Facebook, but they're not good on TikTok? Like, how likely is someone repurposing their content to all channels?
Not very likely.
So they're not
They're
doing it.
good at one, maybe two, but they're not leveraging everything that's out there right now.
Yeah. So here's one. Someone just shared this now. Lighthouse Strategy. That's awesome. I'll retweet that, right? And so we're looking for when people are saying good things about us because our lighthouses are doing the work for us. That's now, if you don't have a great client, if you don't have a lighthouse, you got to partner with somebody, right? So look, if you look at, Josh Nelson saying these things, other people, I can pretty much guarantee you all these people are saying great things, right? Which of these do you want to look at? Name one of them. This was just from this morning. Just choose one.
Let's go to Christian.
Okay. Okay, well, this is like a good comment, but it's not edification. Still good, right? And if we look at the messages that come in, oh, there's your StreamYard. Pretty cool. Or let's go look at my LinkedIn. Here, I'll show you this. This is I could not have made this up. This is from, well, I'll look at this. Okay.
So dollar a day. So basically we identified the lighthouses. We turned the lighthouses into a content wheel where we're going to strategically reach out to all your lighthouses, and either they're your clients, even if not, you reach out to them, you try to get them on your podcast or do a webinar with them, build perceived authorities. And then you come to a point where once you're starting to build out all of this content, now you can use your dollar a day strategy, and you can come in. And I don't know if you would know this about your dollar a day strategy that we've been doing, Dennis, because we were doing so before we started dollar a day. I want to share this with everyone. I think this is going to be a great win for you, for every digital marketing agency owner who's listening right now. Because before, we were still doing great. We were doing like 60, sometimes 70 discovery calls a month regularly. But and we were doing paid ads and all of that stuff, right? So we were doing paid ads on Facebook, Instagram, doing paid ads on Google. But usually how you do the paid ads thing is that, you try to do a creative, and you start throwing things on the wall, see what sticks, and you start making that better. But we didn't even realize that this is where dollar a day really, really helped us out. And let's throw our TikTok numbers up, our dollar a day numbers up. There we go. So this is just our TikTok results. I think for last few months here, average reach per day. We're cost per 1,000 people reached $3.3, 11,000 sales. We didn't even these are places we didn't even think of doing stuff. But the biggest thing that I saw from the dollar a day strategy was that remember those paid ads we're running. Now, before those paid ads, we have this dollar a day strategy. So we put up a snippet of me and Dennis, right? And all of a sudden, it starts doing really, really well, better than all the other dollar a day ads. Guess what that means? That means that this snippet is going to do really well when I bring it into my paid ad funnels. And that's what it's just a way of picking out winning ads every single time without fail. And so what that did for us, instead of doing for the same amount of money, Dennis, we started booking from 60, 70 discovery calls to 100, 120 discovery calls, man, like almost 50% increase without better quality ads, because now we have a mechanism with the dollar a day strategy where we can easily pick. We don't have to guess that, hey, I really like, my ad person doesn't have to second guess himself that I think this snippet's going to do well or this ad's going to do. They can just go to the dollar a day campaigns. They can see which ads are doing the best, and they just pick them and move them over to our paid ad strategy.
And the system does the work for you is the key. So Azar, You've interviewed all these leaders, these lighthouses on your podcast. You've chopped up these different pieces, turned them into social media posts, including little TikTok bits. And in a 1 hour webinar, you might get 6, 7 different snippets. There's always these in a webinar, any kind of long form content. There's always a moment where they say something really amazing. And then let's say you post that to TikTok, but on TikTok, you can't target Josh Nelson or me or Alex Hermosi or other people. So how is it that when you co-create content, let's say with me, and you post that snippet, how does TikTok decide who to reach?
That's a good question, man. I don't know, Dennis. Maybe you should answer that for me. I think the people who want to listen to, my type of audience or your type of audience, or uh, generally talking about agency, I think it's more general, but still related to our general audiences. I don't know if I'm right or wrong there. Yeah, I feel like I'm being put to test over here, man.
Because I want everyone else who's listening to think, geez, if I was asked that question, would I know the answer? And it's not that I'm trying to trick you. It's that I want you to understand something that will really revolutionize the way you think about marketing. And because it just pains me where I see agencies making the same mistake. Here's what it is. When you, and here I'll just show you. I always show from example. I'm not just like giving you my opinion, right? This is something I've tested, proved, I had validated. What TikTok will do is they do facial recognition. They do image recognition. They can tell who's in the video. So when I was at Jake Paul's house, we were filming a course, it recognized that the background was Jake Paul's house, and it started showing the Jake Paul's people. Let's go to my TikTok as an example. Let's see here. Actually, I'm logged in as Daryl. Daryl's our personal injury attorney. Doesn't matter. I can look at anyone's TikTok. All right, check this out. Why is this not? Why can't I get to the profile here? Oh, because it's loading slow. Okay, here we go. 24/7. All right. See the internet and Wi-Fi slow here. Okay. All right. So you see this? This is actually not bad, right? 2 million likes. And I have some of these. So, Daryl's talking about food. He's the personal injury attorney, but he's doing stuff at Louisville as well. And TikTok recognizes that. So it's showing this to people in Kentucky, and we're getting more cases out of this because it's recognizing where he is, who he's with. Here's one of me and Daryl. And we're saying, hey, Daryl's hiring. Come apply, make a 1-minute video and tag us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, whatever. And you can apply. Right? Now, let me show you. I'm Dennis U5.
And did I hear you correctly that your $1 a day should be $5 a day for TikTok?
Yeah, $5 a day. It can be, you can spend whatever you want. But here's one. This is it. Now, I've never made anything about. How much does a pilot get paid? I'll just pause this. My buddy Alex took me out to lunch.
We got another question for you too. Just when you're done with this, Dennis, what's the best platform for $1 a day strategy?
All of them. They're all good platforms. It doesn't matter. It's like if you have multiple kids, which one's your favorite? All of them. Okay. Understand this concept because this applies to right now. It's strongest on TikTok and it's starting to work on Instagram. In fact, all social networks are going to have to do what I'm going to show you. Okay. So Alex took me out to lunch and he's a pilot. And as we were driving, he told me something about how pilots only make money when the door is closed, right? They make X dollars per hour, but when the door is closed, so waiting and all this, nothing. And I said, wow, that's fascinating. So I pull out the phone and at a red light, he answered this question in 31 seconds. And now, shoot.
Alex,
so here it is.
Well, I get paid $57 an hour right now, but it's only when the door closed. So when we're sitting there waiting for everybody to take their seats or sitting there waiting for maintenance, we're getting $0.
Oh,
yeah.
How much does a pilot make per year?
So I would say starting would be right around $60,000 a year, and then once you kind of progress in your career, they're like, I guess, make $500,000 a year.
So it's a 30-second video, right? Now, I've never made anything about pilots or what pilots are making. Now, Alex is not wearing his uniform. He's not on a plane. There's nothing here, Azar, that says this guy's a pilot, right? Okay. But now look at these comments. All these comments are about pilots and where are you? These are pilots. What seat are you sitting? First officer. Oh, I work for United. or I make more than that, or it's, you know, like this. And like, look at so American wide body first officers make $300,000. I fly private carriage topped off captains I know make 250. Right? I can vouch.
You started a controversy there.
But look at this. My husband's a Southwest captain for 15 years and they make good money. Okay. Now, how is it that all these pilots are now Mesa, right? 737 Farmer. These are all pilots pretty much that are discussing this, right? So what is going on here? And I want everyone to understand this point. I'm not going to leave this example until we understand this point. It is, if you do not understand this point, you cannot win on social media. What is going on here?
That's a good question, man. Like, I don't know. Like, is it the facial recognition that you just talked about? Doesn't look like that. The person you're talking to here is a very recognized man on the pilot front. But how are all of these?
He doesn't have to be the most famous pilot. As long as he has some pilot friends, as long as there are pilots that are engaging on the post, all it takes is a few of them. And this post organically went to 180,000 views and 14,000 likes, right? Because of the nature of the engagement. Now, all social networks do the same thing. So we go back to Twitter and let's look at the engagement here. Oh, look, 8 minutes ago, Alex says, sounds good. Right? This is one where we just 16 minutes ago, right? Do I have permission? Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now yes, right?
Now we got a blog article from a Lighthouse.
So you look at the people who are engaging. So when you make a post, it's either who's in the post, who's engaging on the post, who you're targeting in that post. That gives a signal to the engine. How do you think SEO works? SEO is based on who's linking to you, who's coming to the site and watching and reading. Google takes into account all those signals. So when we look at my ads, some of these are absolutely crushing it. Some are like 10%, 11%, 31%, right? So here's one, 32%. All right, let's look at this one for 32%. So look, do you see this where it says 32% link click rate?
Yeah.
This is not just 3 clicks on 10 impressions. This ad's been running for a year and it's consistently delivering. So I spent $6.54 and I had 392 link clicks. And what's occurring here is we have a course for financial advisors. So that's another area. So whatever your area is, here's a course on marketing for whatever, you know, body repair shops, you know, like car repair, like whatever it is. I took the Lighthouse and life insurance. This is the Lighthouse and life insurance. He's super well known because most life insurance the agents are like old people, but this guy, because he's charismatic, he's just dominating, and so he speaks at all the conferences, teaching life insurance agents how to be able to win in marketing and publish a book and social media and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's this guy, Caleb. And here's now, of course, I've trained him, but here's what he says.
Hey guys, welcome to the 1 minute video masterclass. And this is very, very special for me because Dennis Yu is one of the people that really helped me out early on and was one of the first people that taught me the whole marketing space. And we would speak on a lot of stages together and he would talk about the power of a 1 minute video. And what's interesting is a lot of people just wouldn't do it.
So he's making a 1 minute video. Then he's talking about $1 a day. And then we are creating courses. This is like 8 levels deep of inception. You guys can do the same thing too. So we take our training on $1 a day. And of course, he's implemented.
So Dennis, just had a question there. Do videos with people do better or without people?
Yeah.
I guess.
With people, co-created content with someone who's authoritative. So I not only co-created content with the Lighthouse and life insurance and financial advisors, but we took all of the examples where he applied what we teach. We made a ton of 1 minute videos. We did a ton of $1 a day boosts. And it's grown him. And so now he's a, big time keynote speaker. I'm very proud of him. And we took all of this and we put it into a course, which is just our existing course, but we just put his examples in there. We have the same thing for mortgage, same thing for dentist, same thing for whatever. So you could literally do the same thing in whatever vertical you want if you have an agency. So maybe your agency is for, HVAC companies. Then here's $1 a day for HVAC companies. And you put your Lighthouse in here. And then you put all the examples from the Lighthouse. Right? All agencies should do this. They should take their best client. They don't have to be famous. They have to be reasonably well known. And they build a course around that person and we elevate them. And then that client believes they're getting PR and is driving lead gen for you. This is not, let me ask a question just for comprehension. How is this not a testimonial, and why are testimonials garbage?
Well, this is a great, like if somebody's building an entire course out of your strategy, and this person is a lighthouse in that particular industry. Wow, man.
Let me show you this one thing here. Okay, so this ad's doing super well, 32% click-through rate, right? Not click-through rate, 32% link click rate. They're clicking on the link and they're coming to enroll in our course, and then like a third of the people enroll in the course, and then you know what happens when you sell a course. So here, look, who are we targeting here? We're targeting, we'll go to the ad group level because that's where you see this. Insurance
agencies who want to do better, or financial advisors who's wanting to do better marketing for their agencies.
You could, but we're targeting NAIFA. We're targeting his audience. So all the members, because he's the best known person. The National Association of Insurance and Financial, like it's the largest group for insurance agents. It's the big certifying official body that if you're an insurance agent, you join this group, right? This is like the one where they do lobbying and contributions and all that. So we're saying in the ad, hey, if you're a NAIFA member, we created this course for you on how to do marketing. Well, of course they know who it is because I use their best known guy, right? And then I also use pictures of the president of NAIFA. And so I want you guys to do this here, Caleb.
Go ahead, Bilal.
Okay. So this is automatically being tagged. So this is Caleb and the president of NAIFA. The president of that organization. I'm targeting all the people who are members of this organization. Of course, they're going to recognize who this is because my targeting's so good, right? But it's using the Lighthouse strategy. And then I'm using it across multiple channels. Then I showed you what I did, Caleb. We're repurposing that content to multiple channels. So all the things that he said, like here, he interviewed me on his podcast, right?
You want to become a millionaire, give $10 million worth of value.
Yeah. So he's a fantastic podcast host, and he's blown up on YouTube. Fantastic, right? And we took this and turned it into an article, and then we put it on Facebook, on Twitter, and all these other pieces here, right here. So we literally did the same thing I just showed you. Like here, the end asset will change your life. We took his stuff, built a whole thing around his book, the whole thing around what he's taught. So now he's our lighthouse.
So Dennis, before we wrap this up, this is an amazing strategy, man, and we know that this works. But we also know that I have a team of my people executing this strategy, and it's doing really, really great, right? So just to wrap this thing up for agency owners who may not have all the resources, and they may not have teams like you and I do. What's the starting point for someone in 2023 who wants to start out and who wants to start doing the Lighthouse strategy and build out a content wheel and then start doing a $1 a day strategy?
You hire a VA from RepStack. You start with one, and then you have 3. But I'm kidding. I mean, yes, I'm not kidding. But you can have all the tools. You can have high level. You can have VAs from RepStack. You can have whatever. But you first have to have a niche. You have to choose one niche. You can't serve everybody. Okay. You can't say, oh, but I do these 3 different niches. I do interior designers and real estate agents. And no. Choose one niche, because from that niche, it's the more niche you are. You can't just say real estate. You got to be even more niche than that. It could be real estate investors. It could be, a second home, vacation, real estate. I mean, whatever, niche. Because when you have that super niche down, you can then find a lighthouse. If you don't have a lighthouse, then you have to partner with some other agencies that's done that. So you want to join Josh Nelson's 7-figure agency, and you want to partner with these other guys, right? A lot of folks come to me and they say, I'm an agency and I serve law firms. And I'll say, no, law firm is too big, because there's personal injury, there's, divorce, there's corporate law, there's bankruptcy, there's drunk driving. There are all these different areas in law, niche down. And they'll say, okay, well, I serve personal injury. Okay. Who's your lighthouse? Well, I don't know anybody. Okay. Do you have any clients? No, I don't have any clients. Okay. Well, you don't have a lighthouse. then interview other people. Go to a conference, buy the ticket, and at the conference, you can be sort of a pest and
Amazing.
interview the people who have the best book. Follow them on Twitter and ask them questions, and they'll say yes, and that builds your authority. But you do that temporarily, like a donut tire. You know, if you get a flat tire, you can only drive the donut tire until the next exit. You don't want to drive the donut tire too far. You drive the donut tire, which is a non-client, until you have a client. Once you have a client, that's the best lighthouse. A true lighthouse has to be a client. They have to practice what they preach. Otherwise, it's not legit. Josh Nelson is a real lighthouse for RepStack because he's not just saying, oh, I like RepStack. He's practicing what he preaches. And we're hanging out. We're having steak dinner together. We can tell it's a friendship. It's not just like, oh, I took a picture with Josh Nelson and Azar at the conference. And clearly it wasn't real. But no, we're actually spending quality time together. So Azar, when you called me last time,
I think the starting point is what you gave is really, really great, Dennis, because, a lot of us just overcomplicate things. It's as simple as going to a conference within the niche. So number one, identify your niche. And if you don't have any clients or lighthouses, just go to a conference or invest in a coach, because, our relationship really started out, this entire business started out when we invested in hiring a coach, working with people like you, which opened up like amazing amount of opportunities for us. So, there's so many people that we work with who are our clients right now, who are our lighthouses right now, are because they were introduced to us through Josh Nelson or through Dennis or some of the other coaches that we work with, right? So it's really simple. Take that first step in 2023, keep it simple, and the rest will just come. It's a pretty simple. Dennis makes it look like it's because he's running it at a whole different level, right? Like Dennis got this thing dialed in, but I can tell you, we were able to dial this strategy in over the last 6 months. So it's not rocket science. It's simple. Lighthouse, content wheel, $1 a day, and you're good to go.
There it is. And that the 1 minute videos and $1 days, a lot of people, they obsess and they make it so hard. How long does it take, Azar, to make 5 gratitude posts honoring different people? Your mom, your brothers, other people that are well known in your industry, other people you don't even know.
Not even 30 minutes.
It takes a minute for each one. I can literally record 5 1-minute videos. It's that simple.
And you know what I did recently was, because we were hanging out with people like you, Josh Nelson, Alex Schlinsky, the high level people. We have all these lighthouses. Another thing, I saw that you're using Google Pictures as well. So you can actually create folders. So I have a folder with Dennis your picture on there, Dennis, and it's shared with my marketing team. So every time there's a new picture of you and me that appears on my phone, it automatically gets updated in that folder. And my teams already know that here's the Lighthouse new picture that came in. So it's just automatic, or a new video that's coming in, all the content, it's just automatic. You will get to that point. But I think just to start out, it's pretty simple. And like Dennis said, it takes 1 minute to do a gratitude video, right? So simple.
Yeah. And the other agency owners in your niche aren't doing that. If you literally spent 1 minute, you could spend 6 hours a day goofing off, doing whatever it is that you want to do. But you just spend that 1 minute a day giving gratitude to a client, to someone who's well-known, to someone who has the best-selling book in your industry. That 1 minute per day with gratitude is all you really need to keep your agency growing and building the perceived authority. You don't have to go to the conference. You don't have to know billionaire. You don't have to have thousands of VAs. You literally can anybody can do this right now. So before you press pause and go on to the next thing that you're going to do, make a 1 minute video honoring somebody about something. It doesn't have to be related to your agency. It doesn't have to be business. It's anything. I want you to get into the attitude of gratitude. And when you do that, you will be surprised, amazed, the level of people that come to you. Instead of you having to constantly cold call and cold email and, hey, let's get on the 15-minute call and let me see if I can help you. Get out of that mindset. That is the manipulative snake oil salesperson, cold calling, tricking people. Get into the mindset of, when you put gratitude out there, people will come to you and say, wow, Azar, I saw that you were with so-and-so. I would love to see if we could get on a call and maybe you could help me. Maybe your agency could help me. You see how the tables are completely different when people want to come to you versus you go to them saying, hey, let's
very different. Like we've like over the last 6 months, we've built into an organization where we have a list of clients that we can pick and choose from instead of
Yeah.
just running after that. And I think I was like really like when Dennis and I were talking last year, sometime it was in May, and Dennis told me that I hope you don't mind sharing this, that I really don't have a sales department. And Dennis's agency is like huge. He's working with these billion-dollar organizations and not having a sales department. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, how do you do that? And this is how you do it, where people are actually lining up and you can pick and choose from. We've been getting this question, just that most in the wholesale businesses run pay-per-click campaigns to grow or get queries. How can a media buyer in those industries, in the wholesale industries, use Facebook and TikTok ads to drive more customers? Just
It's
a
all
quick
based on
question, and we'll wrap this up.
Yep. Every industry, there's industry conferences, there's groups, there's always lighthouses in every industry. You have to make friends with them. If you don't know them, they probably have a book, they have a podcast, they consume their content voraciously, share it, show that you know it. Don't just say like, oh, Azar, you have a really great podcast. That's lame. Say something, hey, when you interviewed Josh Nelson and he said this, I really thought that was insightful. And I have a question. What do you think about this? Right? So when you build the whole key to this Lighthouse dollar a day topic wheel, like there's a lot of technical things, like how do you boost posts in the right way? But the most important thing is you build relationships with empathy. And when you do that,
building relationships with empathy,
they come back.
That's the key, Dennis.
Yeah.
I think that's key. Like, we overcomplicate things where, like this strategy, that strategy, things like that. Just be a human being. Human beings are meant to be with other human beings. We're meant to build relationships, and we're meant to build relationships with empathy and respect and honoring each other. I think this entire thing is based around this, and Dennis has proved it. Like, over the last 6 months have been the best 6 months for us, implementing all of these strategies. And I think you guys taking these things onto yourself inside your agencies, everyone can do this. It's easy. Start doing simple things. Like Dennis said, start out by just identifying simple people. If you don't have even one customer, we pointed out how you can do that, right? Just go to a conference, or even not even that, gratitude video. Start reading a book of a lighthouse in your industry, and send them a gratitude message, and start doing that once per day. You'll see this thing blow up. Like, within a year, you'd be laughing, like literally, right? Like a situation that we're in right now, where Dennis doesn't even have a sales department. We have a waiting list of customers who want to work with us, not the other way around. And this is a situation you want to be in. So I hope that everyone has. Dennis, any ending words before we end this webinar for everyone?
Would you rather be a douchebag where you're cold calling, using sales tips, manipulating people to try to get them to buy, cold calling, setting tons of appointments, and doing that kind of used car sales kind of thing? Or would you rather be like Harvard University, where everyone's applying, they're trying to get in, they really want to get in, and when they get in, what do? They celebrate, right? Which one would you rather be? And I'm telling you, it's so much nicer when other people are talking about you, when the clients come to you. So I've had a bunch of wins, and this is not like, Dennis can do that because he has a network. No. Like me, like, how cool is it? Like, Nike comes to you saying, hey, we saw what you did with Adidas. We would like to work with you on this next campaign. We're launching this new shoe. We'd love to work with you. Do you think maybe you guys could be able to take us on? What would you say to that? Or another friend who does $1 billion a year as an attorney. He's one of the top 10 advertisers in California, and he's incredible. And he says, man, I know you guys are so busy, but is there any way you could meet our team and help us with our SEO in 3 weeks? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. Right. Another guy, #1 home services business in the United States, he also does over $1 billion, and doesn't have I'm not saying like billionaires, don't think like it only has to be like that, but he said, hey, I have this conference, and I know you're busy speaking and whatever, but can you be there at my conference? And I told him, yes, I'd love to. And then he paid me a ridiculous amount of money, and I stayed at his house for 2 days. And you probably saw the post that I made about that, right? So that's what you want. Wouldn't you rather have that than being a nobody? It's not because you're trying to be famous on social media or whatnot. Look at what Azar is doing. He's taking people from Pakistan who don't speak perfect English, but are absolutely fantastic at execution, fantastic at delivery. And now he's created this layer of perceived authority on top of the actual authority. There's no question that RepStack can deliver, and they have the processes and they can scale, and the businesses that the Siddiqui brothers were able to run that allow them to be able to build RepStack, no question they know how to do that. But today's focus is the idea of growth hacking is how do you create the perceived authority. I want you guys to see that, and I want you to start making 1-minute videos showing gratitude. Anytime you see something like yesterday, Daryl and I, we were first class on Delta, and we were running late, and we were carrying all these bags, and somebody came up and helped us, and he tipped them $50. And that just floored the guy, and we talked about what that meant. And that's just like a moment in time, right? There's always these moments in time, and you just want to make 1-minute videos, just 1 per day, 5 per day, whatever, just honoring people. Watch what happens after 3 or 4 months. If you work out crazy hard, will you have 6-pack abs by this evening?
Hell yeah, man. No, not this evening, but
one day you work out really, really hard. No, but over 6 months, do this over 6 months, a minute or 2 per day. Watch what happens. Compound interest.
Yeah. Love it, Dennis. I think this was a great growth hack. It's the easiest thing we can all do. You don't have to spend millions of dollars to do this. Get started, turn this into a plan, get started. We will be sending out a refund to everyone who attended or who couldn't attend. And thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you guys have a stellar 2023. Thanks for joining me, Dennis. It's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Always good to see you, Azar.
We'll talk soon, guys.